Thank you so much, Daniele. The time is yours.
Thank you, Gabe. Really appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. I'm so honored to be here and to share with you all. Hello from the back as well.
If you want to let them know.
Oh, yes, wonderful. So Gabe asked me to share what to do if you want to learn more or get in contact with us at Beautiful Minds, with me at Beautiful Minds. We have some business cards here. We have some nutrition counseling flyers. There are a couple of flyers that are, one is a summary of my presentation. The other is like a toolkit for mental health. And then we have some recipe cards that talk about some of the nutrients that I'll discuss today. And then business cards, I already mentioned that. So if you want more info, and be mindful, if you really, really want it, take it. I don't have a ton. If you want it but are willing to have a picture version, then I recommend taking a photo so you can have that on your phone, or you can take a picture of the business card so you can capture the email or phone number so everyone can get something. All right. So without further ado, let's get started. Before I jump right in, have any of you heard of the gut-brain connection? Okay, quite a few of us. Yeah, we've heard of the gut-brain connection. Now, what about, have you personally noticed and experienced the difference between what you eat and how you feel? Okay, I think we can all agree. Yeah, we definitely, some snap peas feel a lot different than some ice cream or pizza, right? So yeah, we've definitely noticed a difference between what we eat and how we feel. Great. So the question we're trying to answer today is, can what we eat improve our brain function and mental health? So that's the big overarching question we're trying to answer today. So let's see what the research shows. So Dr. Laura LaChance and Drew Ramsey are two psychiatrists, and they've identified the key nutrients that influence depression and anxiety and calculated what's called the antidepressant nutrient density food score for each food and translated that into the score. So this score helped determine the most nutrient-dense foods to help prevent and promote recovery from depressive disorders. So in other words, it was pretty clear in research that we have nutrients that are good for brain health, but they wanted to go a step further and identify which foods have a lot of these nutrients. So the highest concentration of these nutrients for the lowest amount of calories. So this is what determined the antidepressant food score. So let's figure out what happened next. So in order to come up with the foods that are high in these nutrients, we need to know what nutrients these are. So brain foods. What nutrients are especially helpful for optimal brain function? Any guesses? Nutrients.
Chocolate.
So you're thinking food. So omega-6, omega-3s, vitamin D, B12. You all are a smart crowd. Magnesium, yes, exactly. We're thinking along those lines. Very good. So there are 12 nutrients that are optimal for brain health. A few of them were mentioned. Here they are. We have iron, omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, potassium, selenium, B vitamins, thiamine, folate, B6, B12, vitamin A, vitamin C, and zinc. So these are the top nutrients especially helpful for brain health. So take a mental photo or a photo of this. Remember that these are the nutrients. We're thinking vitamins, minerals. These are the class of nutrients that we're thinking. Now, what about the foods? What foods are highest in these nutrients?
Vegetables.
Very good.
Fish.
Fish. Vegetables, fish, fruits, nuts. Very good. Bread and potatoes? Red potatoes? Oh, they have potassium, so I'll give that to you. Very good. So I'm going to give you an image. What foods have the most of these AFS nutrients? These foods are literally the top brain foods. So this is a cheat sheet image. Yes. What do you notice? They're all green. Yes. So vegetables are highest in the AFS score and lowest in the amount of calories that we're considering per serving. So let's take a look at which veggies are especially high. So to be fair, they separated the score between animal and plant foods. So among the animal foods, they found that oysters were the highest with the top 56% score. just not very high. You know, it'd be not a passing grade. And among the plant foods, they found that these dark leafy greens, watercress, spinach, mustard, turnip, beet greens, lettuces, Swiss chard, fresh herbs, cilantro, basil, parsley, kale or collards, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, all of these are the plant foods that are highest in the nutrients we talked about in the previous slide. So make sure that you don't skimp on the produce aisle. Take your time and see what are the greens here that I haven't tried before, because you might be surprised, they have a lot of the nutrients with few calories. They don't have a lot of energy, but they do provide a lot of the nutrients. So this is an easy way. If you're like, I want to get more nutrients in and I'm not interested in gaining any weight, then definitely make use of these wonderful vegetables. Now, some statistics. Sadly, less than 10% of Americans eat enough dark leafy greens. This is a sad statistic according to the CDC, Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. So what do? Let's look at a few more statistics. So this was percentage of adults aged 20 and over who consume vegetables on any given day from 2015 to 2018. And this was done in Maryland by the National Center for Health Statistics in 2021. And we found that we have any vegetable, we're doing pretty good, because this includes tomatoes, this includes potatoes, we're doing fine. But when it comes to, what's the lowest? Dark leafy greens, dark greens. We're not doing as well, according to the statistics we saw earlier from the CDC. Now let's look at some more statistics. These are the dietary intakes compared to recommendations from 2020 to 2025. I'll zoom in so we can see a little better here. We have the dark blue is what we're not getting enough of, and the purple is what we're getting too much of. So the dark blue, what are we lowest in this area right here? It's a little hard to see, but total vegetables. We're really low in total vegetables. What are we getting way too much of? Refined grains. We're doing way too much. And this is pretty easy. We can all agree with that. Anything packaged, pizza, crackers, cookies, pastries, chips, all of, anything that is packaged pretty much has some sort of refined grain in it. So we're stellar in that regard, but we're not doing so well with the total vegetables. So we know that we have room for improvement, and if we only were a little bit more mindful, I think there would be wonderful ways to incorporate. And some of the recipes that we've included here help us to be able to integrate those veggies into our diet a little bit better. And we're going to dive into each of the nutrients in just a second. So if we were to summarize nutrition recommendations, we would pretty much all agree with the fact that we need to eat more vegetables, more whole foods, less added sugar, and less refined grain. Although there is a lot of dispute and controversial topics within the world of nutrition, this is an area that we can all come to terms with and we can all agree on. So if you remember nothing else, remember more veggies, more whole foods, less added sugar, less refined grain. So now let's get a little bit more granular and let's see why the nutrients are especially helpful for brain health. So diving into vitamin A. Have any of you heard of retinol, beauty products maybe? Yes, we definitely. We seek for the creams and lotions, especially women. We want to glow. We want radiance, we want vibrance, we want all of that. But did you know that you can consume beta carotene, which is nature's version of retinol, and your body will convert it into retinol? Isn't that amazing? Your body does this by itself. It takes the beta carotene from all orange, yellow, reddish foods, and it converts that into retinol. So what we see, we need 700 to 900 micrograms a day. And look at the sources. We have sweet potato. There's 438% of what you need in one medium sweet potato. So that's pretty good. That's a large percentage, which your body has plenty to work with and to convert into the active form of vitamin A. Now, carrots, a similar percentage, 28% in 1 cup, pumpkin, 245% in a cup, and mustard greens, 118% in 1 cup. So why is vitamin A so important for our mental health? Well, it helps protect your brain and vision as an antioxidant. Does anyone know what an antioxidant is? It's a little hard to describe.
Fights free radicals?
Yes, it fights free radicals, exactly. So free radicals come because of toxins, chemicals, stressors, inflammatory agents, stress, lack of sleep, poor diet. So there are lots of, unfortunately, lots of things that we're exposed to just by being a human being that they propagate these free radicals from stealing electrons and damaging our cells. So vitamin A protects our cells and our vision as an antioxidant. Vitamin A also helps maintain our immune system, which we need, right? During COVID, everyone was worried about their immune system. Eating a carrot a day does the body very good. And also vitamin A is needed to play a role in producing DHA and brain cells. Have any of you heard that flaxseed is good for brain health? Yes. So we have the omega-3s that someone mentioned here earlier that are good for mental health. So pro tip, flax seeds are high in ALA, which is a type of omega-3, alpha linoleic acid. So we need vitamin A to convert that ALA into DHA, which is what your brain needs. So all these foods work together. It's a beautiful system that happens in our body, the synergistic effect of nutrients. Now, we've covered vitamin A. Very good. Now jumping into vitamin, yes, we have a question. Yeah.
Some health instructors have the position that carrots should be cooked. How is your take?
That's a good point. You know why? Because carrots are a fat-soluble nutrient. So when they're cooked and mixed with any sort of healthy fat, they're absorbed more readily. So you can eat them raw, but you can also eat them cooked and you will absorb more of that vitamin A. Great question. So it's a fat-soluble. A, D, E, K are fat-soluble vitamins. Great question. All right, now vitamin B1 is thiamine. So this is a water-soluble vitamin. So we need vitamin B1 to produce energy. If you're feeling lethargic, fatigued, low energy, apathy, irritability, brain fog, weakness, all these could be signs that you may be low in vitamin B1. So extremely important to make sure that you're well-rounded in your diet. And deficiency risk factors are alcohol abuse, high blood sugar, exercise, pregnancy, etc. So have any of you heard of a banana bag in the hospital? No? No one? Yeah. Yes, one person. So when people come in from alcohol overdose, they get a banana bag infusion, and it sounds really weird, but it's called a banana bag because it is yellow in color. And what gives it its color is thiamine. If you've ever taken multivitamins and your pee's a little yellow, that's because of the thiamine, B1. So it's pretty interesting that when your body metabolizes, you can sometimes see the effects of that, and that's what we're seeing here with vitamin B1. Yes, of course. We're going to pace ourselves a little bit here. So we have sunflower seeds, 43% in a quarter of a cup. That's pretty good. You can throw sunflower seeds in cereal. You can put them in a salad. You can make a little spread out of them. You can put them in granola. You can sprinkle on just about anything. You can have them as a snack. Sunflower seeds are pretty easy to incorporate. We also have peas. Don't skimp on the peas. The peas can be a wonderful side dish to anything that you're making. It can be added to rice, pasta, salads. Yes.
The sunflower seeds, that just like raw sunflower seeds, or do the roasted sunflower seeds?
You can do roasted as well, although because it's a water-soluble vitamin, you retain more in its raw form. Because when you heat it, it destroys some of the properties.
Yeah, we eat like a bag a day, like at work, just doing construction all day. So I figured
you're getting some B1.
If it retains it while it's roasted, then I guess that works.
Yes, you do retain some of the nutrients, even though it's roasted or cooked. Good point. All right, so we've covered B1. Any more questions on vitamin B1? No, okay, great. Now vitamin B6, this is gonna be a fun one. So my dad is an avid coffee drinker. He likes his coffee and he's okay with me sharing this. And my mother doesn't mind because at every Starbucks there is a banana, and she's crazy about bananas. She loves her bananas. So she doesn't mind because every time he gets a coffee, she gets her a banana, and I tell her it's her beauty secret. And we'll see why. So vitamin B6 regulates our mood, helps create melatonin, and fights inflammation. I don't recommend coffee, by the way. So this is just a side note to make it interesting and memorable. Now, we need vitamin B6 for several reasons. And I talked about banana, obviously it's in the picture here because it's a source of B6. Now, have any of you heard of tryptophan? Yes, okay, we know what tryptophan is. That's an amino acid that our body takes and converts into, does anyone know? This is melatonin? Before melatonin, there's a few other steps. Serotonin? Yes, serotonin, very good. So your body takes tryptophan and converts that into 5-HTP, which is the precursor to serotonin, and then your body takes that and converts it into melatonin, which helps you sleep well at night. So the serotonin is what makes you feel good. It makes you feel energetic, it makes you feel happy, it makes you feel joyful. So serotonin is the hormone that you want plenty of. And that you can get by exposing yourself to light in the morning, natural light, and eating a balanced diet in the morning and then going on a nice walk, and then avoiding screens in the evening because that blue light will block the conversion of serotonin to melatonin. So you don't want to have that blue light in the evening with your phone. Maybe an hour or two before bed, you put your phone to bed as well, and then you can pick up a book or have some tea, talk to a friend, go for a nice light walk. There's plenty of things to do in the evening to help you wind down. Now, where can we get vitamin B6? We have chickpeas, 85% in 1 cup. An easy way to get more chickpeas in is hummus. Does anyone eat hummus or like hummus? Yeah, quite a few of you. Okay, so hummus we can put on toast, we can have on crackers, we can add as a dip, carrot sticks, celery sticks, cucumbers. There's lots of ways to incorporate more chickpeas, or even roasting chickpeas. They get crunchy, and it's a nice addition to a salad or any dish that you're making. And we also have wild salmon, chicken, 46%, 38% there, bananas, 31%, and potatoes, 31%. Yes, question?
What's the myth between should you eat the banana more green or should you eat the banana really yellow?
That's a good question too. So the polyphenol content changes. So you have a certain amount of this specific polyphenols that are good for certain things that change. So both are good in essence. Both are great. So you get a specific amount of a certain polyphenol when it's super green, and then as it oxidizes, you get other types of polyphenols that are more absorbed. Yeah, good question. Great. Okay, so we covered vitamin B6. Wonderful. Now, vitamin B9. This is what is known as folate. So folate is the natural form. Folic acid is the synthetic form. So we all need plenty of folate. So folate is needed to make myelin. Does anyone know what myelin is?
It's in your brain.
It's in your brain, exactly. We've got some scholars in the crowd. So myelin is what surrounds our nerve axon. So axon is that, if you will, the tail of the neuron. It's what helps send a signal from neuron to neuron. So on that axon, we have a myelin sheath, and that covers the axon. And what is it good for? Well, it helps your brain to send a signal faster because the signal will jump between myelin sheath and myelin sheath. So B9 is needed to make that myelin sheath. And neurotransmitters, what are our neurotransmitters? Serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, epinephrine, GABA. All those are neurotransmitters we need folate to make, and those regulate our mood, our sense of pleasure, and our clarity of thinking. Pretty amazing, right? Those neurotransmitters do so much for us. We also need folate for DNA regulation. So every minute of the day, every second, you have cells dividing. Even if you just tap your skin a little bit, you have cells slewing off, and that's because your brain is constantly repairing itself. So it's a wonderful, wonderful machinery that we have, that we live in, and we can take care of. Now, we also have the benefit of reducing inflammation when we consume adequate amounts of folate. So homocysteine is a biomarker of inflammation that your doctor might order if you have heart disease in your family, or you have any sort of signs of inflammation. Your doctor might order this test. So folate can reduce that biomarker and reduce the inflammation and the chances that you have of having any sort of heart disease. So where can we get folate? Well, lentils, 90% in a cup. That's very good. Yeah, that's quite a bit. And there's so many wonderful ways to consume lentils. Lentil soup, you can do majedra, the Lebanese style lentils. You can cook them with a little bit of water and make them dry to add with rice. You can add them to salads. Lentil loaf, thank you. There's lots of wonderful ways to consume lentils. One of my favorites is the lentils in the produce section of Trader Joe's. They have pre-cooked lentils, and they are so delicious. They're seasoned in France, and they have different spices in them, and it's very light. They're small brown lentils, and they're very yummy. So they have another, I'll give you guys a little hack. One of the dietitians that I learned from, she taught me this. You can get the arugula, you can put it as a base. You can get the lentils from Trader Joe's and their bruschetta sauce and a little bit of the feta or vegan feta if you prefer. And that makes a perfect, well-rounded, balanced meal. You're getting your veggies, your greens, your protein from the lentils, the carbohydrates, the fiber, and the healthy fats. Yeah, there you go. So that's an easy meal. And we have chickpeas. We talked about the hummus before. We talked about the roasted chickpeas, salads, soups, you name it. We have Brussels sprouts we can have as a side dish, asparagus, and spinach. We get a little bit more from the cooked spinach since the leaves are so light when we concentrate the amounts. And not overcooked, just lightly steamed so it breaks the cellulose just a little bit. That'll do it.
Is that good for canned spinach?
Is it good for canned spinach? If you don't overcook it, so you don't lose a lot of those B vitamins. So just lightly. Well, I see what you're saying. If you buy the can of spinach, well, not a ton there. I mean, Popeyes would say otherwise, but
you could find specific spinaches like flash.
Yes.
Flash frozen.
Yes.
And then chickpeas, the way that we got our kids to eat them is we would mix it into the mac and cheese.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And they just eat it. They don't even notice it.
Huh. You can blend it into the sauce, maybe?
Yeah.
Blend it into
blend
the
it into the
mac and cheese
They
sauce.
take in the cheese sauce and they love it.
That's creative. Wow, that's very creative to mix chickpeas into the mac and cheese sauce. But hey, whatever works to get your kids eating more veggies. And we have asparagus, I mentioned, and spinach. Perfect. Okay. So we covered B9. Now B12, our much considered controversial, much needed B12. So B12 helps protect our brain cells. So as we age, our brain shrinks a little bit, sadly. So we want to do as many Sudoku puzzles as we can, try to learn a new language, play an instrument, do any challenging activities to maintain your brain function. Don't use it, you lose it, right? So we want to make sure we're using our brain, but not only that, we want to make sure we're getting enough B12. So we need B12 to make mood-regulating molecules in our brain, the neurotransmitters like we talked about, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, epinephrine, GABA. And this also reduces inflammation, homocysteine, which is a marker of inflammation as we talked about. And B12 mitigates our brain shrinkage. So the next time you go to the doctor, say, hey doc, can you order the B12 test for me and check to see where your levels are. If you are deficient, then getting a sublingual B12 supplement is the best because it doesn't require intrinsic factor. That is what in the digestive system is required to absorb B12. Some people have low amounts of intrinsic factor, which makes the absorption difficult. So a sublingual version of that B12 is ideal if you are low. It's very inexpensive, yes. It's pretty affordable to get that vitamin B12. So you can supplement or you can have wild salmon, eggs, dairy, although these animal sources are also deficient because of the supply that we have. It's not the same. Everything is more industrialized, and B12 is actually a naturally sourced vitamin. It's in the soil, it's in the ruminating animals, like beef and all of those. So anyway, even our animal sources are deficient, but we digress. So let's move on to vitamin C. So vitamin C, did you know that vitamin C is floating in your cerebral spinal fluid as we speak? If you're getting enough, hopefully. So your cerebral spinal fluid is what cushions your brain from your skull. And so that allows there to be some cushion, and it allows nutrients and fluids to flow. So vitamin C is highly concentrated in our cerebral spinal fluid that surrounds our brain. Now, vitamin C is also an antioxidant and cofactor in many biochemical reactions. So for many reactions to occur, we need vitamin C. We need all of these nutrients that we're talking about. And there's hundreds of thousands of reactions happening in our body daily. Now, insufficient intake of vitamin C can lead to feelings of fatigue and depression, unfortunately, so we need plenty of vitamin C. There's another study that looked at the consumption of citrus fruits among nurses, and they found that nurses who consumed at least 1 to 3 servings of citrus a week, they had much lower incidence of depression. And so this is an encouragement to us, maybe some lemon juice in the morning, or an orange with breakfast, or getting some, if you like grapefruit, or any other citrus that you can think of, tangelos, pomelos, cuties, mandarins, you name it. Those can all stave off depression. So insufficient intake can lead to feelings of fatigue and depression, as we talked about, and vitamin C also helps us absorb iron. So vitamin C and iron are best friends, and they work together to, vitamin C helps iron to be absorbed in our body. So as you can see here in this picture, I've included broccoli, papaya, strawberries, bell pepper, Brussels sprouts, and we have the citrus, as we mentioned. So I didn't want to highlight citrus because there are other sources of vitamin C that we can get our vitamin C from, like these mentioned. So sometimes people say, oh, the citrus is too expensive, or the strawberries are pricey right now. Well, bell peppers aren't, Brussels sprouts aren't. So there are ways to go about it to get our vitamin C in that don't have to be pricey. And if whatever's in season, yes. Vitamin C pill, that's synthetic, and it can throw off your mineral balance in your body. And so I wouldn't recommend the pill form, because your body needs the matrix of the food to absorb it well, and too much vitamin C can also throw off other minerals in your body. So yeah, food source is best. Yes, and then we have iron. Oh yes, we have another question.
You said lemon or lime, right?
Yes.
One whole lemon?
You can do half. Half is plenty because it's highly concentrated. So half a lemon or lime in the morning is perfect.
For one person?
For one person, yes. Some lemon water. Yeah, that's great. Good, good. Okay, then we have our iron. Iron helps transport oxygen into your brain. So everyone take a deep breath. Hold it for a few seconds and then exhale out through your nose. That's a natural breath. If you want to change your heartbeat, then you exhale through your mouth longer. But if it's just a normal breath, in and out through your nose. There's a book by James Nestor. It's called Breath. You can learn all about what happens when you nose breathe versus mouth breathe. So we need oxygen in our brain. So take a deep breath again and hold it and then release. Very good. So the more oxygen you have in your brain, the clearer your thoughts are, the more you can manage your emotions. All essential. Iron also helps make mood-regulating neurotransmitters. We keep coming back to this: serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, epinephrine, and GABA. And unfortunately, 2 billion people are iron deficient, leading to low energy, focus problems, and higher irritability. Does anyone know how to solve this crisis of iron deficiency? That's one of the ways, yes, if you take vitamin C with iron. There are 2 other ways. Yes. Molasses, yes, that's great. You can get your iron from molasses and calcium and potassium. Yes. Cooking in a cast iron pan. You guys got it. You're on it. Very good. Yes. Beets, yes, beets do have some iron. They help build up blood. Yes, the beautiful. Isn't it amazing that nature has reminders of what foods are good for? Like tomatoes, lycopene is good for your heart. When you cut a tomato open, it looks like the chambers of the heart. And a carrot, if you slice it, it looks like an eye, right? Vitamin A we talked about is good for our eyes. The walnuts have omega-3s. They look like a brain. Isn't that cool? Celery, it's good for your bones. Yeah, they look like a bone. Definitely. Okay, now there are two unconventional ways to solve the iron deficiency problem. The first, are you ready for it? We're not ready for it. Okay, I will say it. Not snacking and not drinking with your meals. Why? Because when we snack all the time, we deplete our stomach acid, and we need our stomach acid to absorb that iron. And when we drink with our meals, we dilute our stomach acid, and we need that stomach acid to absorb those nutrients. How many people do you know that drink with their meals and snack all day? Quite a lot. Most people, yeah, no wonder we're so deficient, because we're using up our stomach acid all day, and we're diluting our stomach acid when we drink a lot with our meals. So it makes sense. And we're deficient in B12 too, because this same phenomenon happens. So save that stomach acid, allow those hunger pangs to kick in, your stomach to growl. That's a really good sign. That means the enzymes are kicking in, your stomach acid is right where it needs to be. The pH needs to get really low. I did an experiment in middle school, and I remember we were doing viscosity and pH, and I remember diluting, what was it? Chicken bones in vinegar, and it slowly started eroding away. So no wonder we need stomach acid to break down the proteins that we consume. To get, for things to look like they do, we need a lot to happen in our digestive system. So take heart. It's not impossible to reverse iron deficiency anemia. You can implement these tools that all of you mentioned and avoid drinking with your meals, avoid snacking. Great work. So where can we find iron? Pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, spinach, beans, lentils, dark chocolate, and red meat. So I do recommend the plant sources with vitamin C, of course, because the plant sources have fiber, they have polyphenols, they have antioxidants, they have protein, complex carbs. They're so much more complete, and they nourish our gut microbiome. Okay, now we have magnesium. Yes, another question. Pumpkin seeds?
Are they bitter or toasted?
They are whatever you will eat. So if you can get them, if you eat them roasted, that's great. If you like them raw, that's great. It's one of those that doesn't have to be one or the other. And they're also high in zinc, which we'll talk about, which is wonderful. So I would say either one, whichever you consume. Yes. Great. So the calming chemical, we all need and love magnesium. Magnesium is pretty powerful. We need magnesium for over 300 biochemical reactions in our body. We need magnesium for the proper function of nerve and brain cells. We need magnesium for brain growth. We need magnesium to help control blood sugar and lower the risk of diabetes. Magnesium also helps with headaches. It helps with constipation. It helps with hormone regulation. It helps with digestion. We have so many biochemical reactions that are dependent on magnesium. So where can we find magnesium? Well, from our picture here, we have spinach, almonds, black beans, cashews, dark chocolate, avocados. These are all great sources of magnesium. So 25% in an ounce of almonds, that's pretty doable. That's like maybe a tablespoon of almond butter, or a handful, and not even that, less than a handful. 10 almonds, thank you. Spinach, 24% in half a cup. Cashews, 23% in an ounce. Black beans, 19% in half a cup. Pretty easy to throw half a cup of black beans into a salad. Soybeans, 16% in half a cup. Great, excellent. So the calming chemical. This one you can supplement, but be careful. There's so many different types of magnesium. If you struggle with constipation, you want to go with the citrate. If you're women's health conscious and you're wanting to go you want your hormone balance, you want to replete any sources of magnesium you might be deficient in. That would be the glycinate form. Threonate is really good for the brain. So if you're worried about Alzheimer's or you have headaches, then magnesium threonate is what I would recommend. And then malate is similar to glycinate. It's good for quite a few different things. Yes?
So can you take more than one kind of magnesium per day?
Yes, you can definitely take more than one kind of magnesium. Many times you'll find them mixed because the different sources are good for different things.
Sorry, which one was the one for Alzheimer's?
Threonate.
Threonate.
Magnesium threonate, yes. But I will tell you that in this handout that I have here, the Nutrition Essentials for Mental Health, I don't have very many, so if you want, take a picture. This one talks about the ways to mitigate brain shrinkage and optimize your brain health. And one of them is time-restricted eating. I would say if you avoid snacking, you eat 2 to 3 balanced meals a day, and you don't eat super close to bedtime, that would be optimizing your brain health significantly, more than if you just take a supplement here and there.
My wife's family just has a history of early onset Alzheimer's, so whenever we hear anything that helps, we just take note.
Yes,
So.
omega-3s as well, magnesium threonate, exercise, fasting, learning a new language, instrument, reading the Bible actually really helps with brain health. There's research behind that. Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, now potassium. Potassium is fascinating. It doesn't get enough attention, but we need double the amount of potassium than we do sodium. How many of you, or who knows how much sodium we need in a day, the limit? 2,300, yes, very close. So we need 4,700 milligrams of magnesium. Every nerve impulse in each of your heartbeats depends on potassium. So we need plenty of potassium. I don't know if any of you remember anatomy and physiology when we talked about the sodium potassium pump. Nutrients flow in, toxins flow out. The sodium potassium pump is constantly working. So this happens in every cell and every neuron. To get the signals conducted from neuron to neuron, we have the sodium potassium pump, and every movement that you make requires sodium and potassium. So potassium we can find in beet greens, 37% in a cup, Swiss chard, 27% in a cup, spinach, 24% in a cup, and bananas, 12% in a cup. So, like we talked about, the sodium and potassium pump helps pump in vital nutrients in and waste out. And potassium is also necessary to get oxygen to the brain and relays signals from neuron to neuron. So, very important. Then we have our selenium. Selenium. I love selenium because I'm from Brazil, and we have Brazil nuts are native to, you're from Brazil too? No, but you also like Brazil nuts. Yes, they're so good, and you only need about 1 a day to get enough selenium. So selenium helps produce glutathione, a powerful antioxidant in your brain and body. We also need selenium to produce DNA and replicate the DNA in our cells, and selenium also offers protection from oxidative damage. So the oxidative damage is what we talked about, the free radicals and all of that. So does anyone know what the 2 most powerful antioxidants are known to man? One of them is on the slide. Glutathione. Glutathione is produced by your liver, because can you imagine how much detoxing your liver has to do? Everything you put on your skin, everything that you filter out, your body has to filter out from the water that you consume, from the drinks you consume, from the products you apply on your body, from the chemicals that you inhale. Your liver has to do some heavy lifting when it comes to detoxing. So glutathione is found in your liver, and that's one of the most powerful antioxidants. And there's another one. But before we get to the other one, selenium is needed to help produce glutathione. So at Costco, I think they do sell a bag of Brazil nuts, maybe for $11 or something like that. You only need 1 a day. So think about it as a supplement. I'm getting my selenium today. 1 a day is plenty. Look at that. 1,158% in a quarter cup. That's a lot. So you don't need very much, just a little here and there. And you can also get selenium from tuna, 167% in 3 ounces, and halibut, 85%. But nothing compares to our Brazil nut, right? So the other antioxidant that's really powerful is melatonin. Melatonin, I think some of you saw that coming. So melatonin we get when we get enough sleep. So that's something that we all can get more of. Going to bed before the hours of midnight is really helpful to help our bodies to absorb that melatonin and utilize it well. The hours after midnight aren't as restorative as the hours before midnight. And you can do an experiment. You can see, what does it feel like going to bed at 9 and waking up at 5 versus going to bed at 1 and waking up at 9 or 10. It doesn't feel the same. So you can try it out and see how that goes and experiment the benefits of getting selenium, glutathione production, and melatonin. And then we have our zinc. We need 8 to 11 milligrams. Men need 8, women need 11 milligrams. That's why we have that range. And it's needed for the immune function to protect our body from infections, excess inflammation, and cancer. Did you know that your body is constantly fighting off cancer cells? Yes, we knew that. Our body's constantly fighting off cancer cells. So we need all the help we can get to preserve our body and to help our immune system as much as possible. And like magnesium, zinc is used by more than 100 enzymes to function. So we need plenty of zinc. And someone mentioned pumpkin seeds. Those are a great source of zinc. And not only that, but we need zinc to regulate neuroplasticity and neural connections. Have any of you heard of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor? Yes, we have a few people. So that's our brain fertilizer. So we need zinc to produce that brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is what we want when we want to learn something new. We're talking about anxiety and depression here in these next few weeks. So we want to learn a new way of thinking, or we want to reframe our thoughts, or we want to feel better and encourage our outlook and our optimism. So all of this can be traced back to the foods that we eat and the zinc that we get that's helping us to make these changes. So sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, steak, ground turkey, look at that. We have plenty of sources. And you can put pumpkin seeds on virtually anything. You can put it on in soups, salads, cereal. You can make your own hummus, exactly, as we see in the picture, salads. You can have them with granola, on top of oatmeal, you name it. There's so many creative ways. Huh? On top of ice cream, that's a good idea. Yeah, great.
Seems like chickpeas are have about everything in them.
Yes, so we have, yes, absolutely. They do, they are. Okay, now last but not least, we have our omega-3 fats. Where do the fish get their omega-3s?
From algae.
From algae, exactly. So if you don't want to do a fish oil, you can do an algae supplement that also has omega-3s, or you can get your omega-3s from flaxseed. Your body, again, like we talked about in the beginning, your body converts the ALA from omega-3s into EPA and DHA with the help of vitamin A. This is the very first vitamin we talked about. So vitamin A helps that conversion from flaxseed ALA to DHA and EPA. Very good. So DHA builds brain cells, increases the production of BDNF as well. So zinc and omega-3s, brain-derived neurotrophic factor or brain growth hormone. And omega-3s regulate and reduce inflammation levels in the brain and body. So where can we get some? Leafy greens, hemp seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, fatty fish, and a supplement. So make sure you're getting plenty of those. Yes?
Does the wild salmon or like farm salmon really matter that much?
Yes, because of the food that they're given. So you want to get the wild salmon if you do consume that. I have a friend who lives in Iceland. She doesn't normally eat fish, but when she goes, she does, because she knows that it's sourced well and wild caught. Yes. Great. Okay, so if we were to summarize our presentation today, we can say that we need to eat food, not too much, and mostly plants. So remember that as you go today, and make sure you stop by and grab a business card or a nutrition counseling flyer or a recipe that you're interested in, or this sheet here, Nutrients for a Beautiful Brain. is a summary of what we talked about today. So there's the nutrient, the brain benefit, sources, and examples, and then on the bottom, top 10 brain boosting foods. So if you can take a picture, or if you really want one to put on the fridge, then you take one. And that is it. Any questions? Yes.
You started out and listed all the various foods that were particularly good for brain.
Yes.
And then we went through the nutrients that were good for brain. Those foods, was each one had all or most of those good nutrients, or were these foods, one's good for this, one's good for that?
A lot of the vegetables we talked about, the dark leafy greens, they have a lot of the different nutrients we talked about. They have a large quantity, and they're lowest in calories. That's why they're there. Otherwise, we would have walnuts, we would have other types of foods as well, but the lowest in calories are the ones we talked about. Yeah, good point. And I'll go back to that so we can all see. It's a good slide to look at. So these are the nutrients, and then these are the top brain foods.
So each one has a variety of those nutrients.
A variety of those nutrients. That's what's beautiful about plant foods. If you look at the nutrient spectrum, there's a wide variety of a lot of different nutrients. So apples give you a little bit of this, a lot of that, a medium amount of that, a small amount of that, lots of small amounts of different things. So plants are really complete when it comes to, when you combine them well, you get most of the nutrients that you need, a lot of the nutrients that you need. Yes?
Can you touch on organic vegetables?
Yes, I can. So organic foods, they basically develop more polyphenols, because polyphenols are what protects the cell. It gives plants their flavor and their color. So organic foods have to develop more of their polyphenols to protect them from bugs, to protect them from the sun, to protect them from the damage that we use pesticides for. So they naturally develop more of the polyphenols, which are the antioxidants, good for our cells in our body. So there's more nutrients basically, and they taste better. So yeah, question?
Isn't that as long as your organic farmer is cultivating the soil first?
As long as the farmer is cultivating the soil. Yeah, that would be great if they cultivate the soil, but regardless, the plant still needs to develop more of its protective mechanisms that are actually what is good for us to consume in that plant. Yeah, great question. But obviously, if they cultivate the soil, that's even better. Yes?
Does it really matter if it's like organic versus not organic?
It does for a few reasons. So when something is not organic, they spray them with all these pesticides, right? And these pesticides affect your health. They're toxins that your liver has to get rid of. And also, many people are finding that the glyphosate that's sprayed on the plant foods, they affect the gut. So some people have a lot of gut issues. They can't consume gluten, or they can't consume dairy, or they can't consume certain foods. It's because their gut might be suffering. So organic foods are a little gentler on their system because it's not feeding them the toxins. Yeah. Great questions. You guys have been a great crowd.
Specific, if budget was an issue, like a specific food you would more likely recommend to go organic than others?
Great question.
Tomato versus like spinach?
Yes. So which foods would I recommend going organic, and which I would say you can skip it? If it has a soft skin, like tomatoes or strawberries, or it's like a banana you can peel and open, that's not as susceptible to something sprayed on it. If it has a lighter, softer skin, I would say go organic, but if it has a tough skin, then you're okay. Or you can look up the Dirty Dozen, and those you want to do organic. Yeah, great questions. Okay, oh yes, one more.
There is an example about one breakfast or a lunch.
Yeah, a breakfast or lunch. We have some recipes for you. So the lunch, we have a black bean and sweet potato burger. We also have a Mexican fajita bowl. We have, for breakfast, there's a chia seed pudding. There's also buckwheat waffles. So make sure that you take some pictures of the recipes that we have here. I think some of them, Yeah, there a lot of them are gone.
I got the waffles.
You got the waffles if you want to take a picture. You can also take a picture of my business card and I can email you whatever you would like from today's presentation. Okay, very good. Thank you all for your attentive ears and for your participation. It's been great. Thank you.